The United Civil Society in Action has called on Trade, Industry and Competition Minister Park Stow to immediately dissolve the National Lotteries Commission. This, as they say, that the NLC has failed in its responsibility to distribute funds to community-based organizations. The UCSA is alleging massive corruption at the Commission. Well, to give us some of the detail, I'm joined by Tebogo Sithathu. He's the chairman of UCSA. Thank you very much, Tebogo, for joining us. So you've expressed concern around Minister Park Stow not taking heed of the issues that you've raised about possible impropriety at the NLC, citing that the request for proposal process for the fourth national lottery operator as having been marred by misconduct. Just succinctly, if you will, take us through some of the details.
Thank you very much, and greetings to the viewers at home. Let's go back a little bit. The current board is illegal. The commissioner has been put there, not following due process. She has been, corrupt in a corrupt manner, handpicked, sort of to bypass other capable candidates. So that's where it all starts. The lot started with the previous minister, Ibrahim Patel, and thank God he's gone. So what Park Stow, the honourable minister, currently ought to do is to discharge his executive duties and responsibilities and not find himself being complicit like his predecessor. The current board is illegal, which means that each and every decision they have been taking ever since is going to be questioned. And if Park Stow, honourable minister, is not going to listen to us and to listen to the voices that have been saying this thing, that there's a problem that now has already affected even the fourth operator license, which is due next year, May. Yeah. So we'll find ourselves sitting with a serious crisis in this country. Okay.
So you've basically said that this commission, this latest commission, is an illegal one. It wasn't constituted properly.
The board, not the commission.
Sorry, the board, pardon me.
Yes.
So you're also alleging that there's been the unlawful use of the National Lotteries Commission's funds. You made reference to
Absolutely.
A catering contract as an example, and also renovations made at government entity, the South African Bureau of Standards. Just tell us a little bit about that as well, and also give us, some time frame as to when these things happened.
Thank you. Yes, just to clarify, we want the National Lottery Commission to stand as a developmental entity and institution of people. However, the current board and the commissioner must be removed with immediate effect. So they have squandered funds. One, they've spent over 50 million rand on renovations of South African Bureau of Standards offices in the recent past, which is like within the last 12 months. That I can be sure. We'll give you the exact date at the later stage. But this is not so long ago. They've also spent over 40 million on a system called Modernization 4.0, getting rid of the fusion system that has been working well. And that other system that they have dumped, over 250 million rands was spent on that. So that's totally irresponsible. Community organizations out there are struggling. They are dying. Some of them have been deregistered because of these guys are squandering money on useless things that they ought not to be spending money on. But also, in addition to that, as if that is not enough, they spent over 300 million, send it to Treasury. And people keep on saying, sending it back. No, that money does not come from Treasury. The National Lotteries Commission does not obtain its funds from Treasury or the fiscus like all the other government departments or entities. We get our money from the people, poor in their majority, black in their majority, who play lottery because of their hoping to become multimillionaires. And when they don't, that money ought to be reinvested back into the communities by providing funding for community-based organizations, non-profit organizations and non-profit companies. Yeah. They're sitting now on 3 billion rand. As they call it, the reserves. It's not reserves per se. It's money they did not spend. Organizations are dying over more than 1 year. They have not dispersed of any funds to organizations.
Tebogo, very quickly, I want to ask you, historically speaking, What sort of contributions have these organizations, the organizations that you represent, what sort of contributions have they had, and how is it differed now under this new board?
Like I say, they are dying, they are dead. Some of them are dead already, unfortunately. So we're trying to save those that are still remaining. The differences they make, these are old age homes, these are drug rehabilitation centers, these are children homes, these are child-headed homes, these are, these are many organizations that are doing community-based work, actually doing government a favor where they are failing to deliver services. So the National Lottery Commission is such an important institution to the civil society, particularly Black, because of more often than not, Black organizations don't get funded easily by private sector because of their donor dependent, and if they don't get money from the national lotteries, they might as well die. But also, the current board has stifled and made the process so difficult, almost impossible, just to block Black majority organizations from accessing the funding. If you look at the application form, it's got to be this thick. They're asking for things that are impossible. They ought to make this process very easy on people. But another thing, they spent over 70 million rand on investigations. Why spend so much money on all these things that I've mentioned without giving money to the organizations? They are not the police. They are not the justice system. They need to focus on their core mandate. So they have failed. They have not kept to the National Lotteries Act. They must go, they must be dissolved.
Yeah, Tebogo, we've heard you. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your perspective on this issue. That was Tebogo Sithathu. He's the chairman of UCSA. Of course, we are hoping to give the National Lotteries Commission board the right of reply, but in the interim, we will read the statement that they issued to us. The board of the National Lotteries Commission has responded through a media statement following the appearance of the chairperson and commissioner before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee for Trade, Industry and Competition last month. In particular, the board says it's concerned about various allegations seemingly centered on the conflicts of interest and the appointment of the commissioner, including casting what they term as vague aspersions on the reputation and integrity of the members of the board. The statement says the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee requested the dissolution of the NLC board, citing a perceived conflict of interest. The NLC refutes these allegations and offers the following as clarification. The entire selection process is subject to an independent quality assurance process of both the board and the minister. The minister will in due time receive the reports and make the appointment of the operator. On board appointments, the statement says the board members were appointed by the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition in accordance with the Lotteries Act, and the appointments were approved by Cabinet. All members underwent a rigorous selection process and there are no conflicts of interest either declared or identified. It goes on to say, regarding the commissioner appointment, the commissioner was appointed through a transparent process that included a public advertisement, headhunting, interviews and subsequent approval by the minister and endorsed by the cabinet. There is no evidence of irregularities or conflicts of interest in this process. And finally, the fourth lottery license process, it says the NLC has followed strict procedures for the appointment of the fourth lottery license operator in adherence to the Lotteries Act, including the request for proposals issued by the minister. The process is well underway and the bids are undergoing a rigorous process of evaluation and adjudication. Various experts are involved at different stages of the process and all participants are undergoing rigorous probity checks and conflict declarations. The NLC says it is committed to transparency, accountability, integrity and good governance.